All right, we'll go ahead and call this Twila City Planning Commission meeting to order this Wednesday, June 26, 2024, the hour 7 p.m. here in City Council chambers. First item on our agenda tonight is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, number 2 on our agenda tonight is our roll call. Commissioner Hammer?
Here.
Commissioner Proctor?
Here.
Commissioner Sloan?
Here.
Commissioner Robinson?
Here.
Commissioner Jensen?
Here.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I am also here. Let's please excuse Commissioners Dunn and Commissioner Anderson. We'd also like to recognize Council Members Manzione and Hanson tonight. Staff members Mr. Hall, Mr. Agard, Mr. Perez, Mr. Baker, and Mr. Hanson. Looks like I got everybody. And of course, Catherine's here. She's always here.
She's one of us.
She's one of us.
She doesn't need special recognition.
All right, number 3 on our agenda tonight is a review and decision. This is a consideration of an application for historic landmark designation of the Ritz Theater located at 111 North Main Street. Mr. Perez.
Just making a delivery.
Thought you were sitting down all night.
Well, all night after this.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, Commission. So just to give you a little bit of a background on this historic landmark nomination process, you guys have the opportunity to make history tonight in recommending these 2 sites, as these are the first historic landmark nominations through the city. And both of these applications have to meet all of the criteria of the following. They have to be located within the city limits. They have to be at least 75 years old, and then no major alterations or additions that kind of obscure or destroy the significant historic features. And then the next pieces of the criteria is that they have to meet at least 1, and you can kind of see those in your packet, whether they be listed in the National Register of Historic Places, associated with events, distinct architectural characteristics, or any important history or prehistory. And the process for these that have been brought to your review, they have gone before the Historic Preservation Commission, and they have all unanimously recommended both of them to go to you. And then how that works, you guys will review this, and then if you guys recommend that, a resolution will be drafted by Roger, and then at the next meeting, you guys would vote on the resolution for both of the properties. And then after that, it would go to the city recorder's office. She would designate it as a historic landmark within the city. And then after that, it would go to the county assessor's office, and it would be designated as a historic landmark within the city. And then after that, it does make it easier for certain grants from the preservation kind of committee from the state and designating things like that. So if you want to go ahead and look at the first one, the Ritz, obviously it's right across the street if you haven't seen it, but it does meet all 3 of those first criteria, and then it does also meet with this associated with events and the distinct architectural characteristics. You can see there should be some pictures of it in your packet as well. And just to give you some kind of background on this too, I am going to be submitting a grant for the Ritz Theater at the end of this week, so it could help with kind of maintaining some of those architectural significance, and then also updating some of the repairs that needed, such as the restroom and seating and things like that. Do you guys have any questions on the Ritz so far? Or I feel like it should be pretty unanimous. You guys should all really support it.
Let's bring this back to the commission for any questions for staff. No?
I
Yes.
kind of have a question or a thought, and it doesn't necessarily pertain specifically to this one, but just where it says there are no major alterations or additions that have obscured or destroyed significant historic features. It seems just kind of subjective. Like, what are we? I know we went through this when we did this a little while ago, but I still kind of have a hard time wrapping my head around what kind of alterations. You know, like, maybe I'll bring it up on the next one, but the rock house, if it's been plastered, it's not, I'm not saying, I'm just not sure what to think about all that. So more of a thought than anything, I guess.
I have similar thoughts, which is why this vote's not going to be unanimous.
Okay. This one is for the Ritz.
Yes.
This one is for the Ritz.
I get it. And I understand that it meets those criteria, but as far as meeting the other one, because those criteria are subjective, I I don't think it does.
Okay.
It all comes back to that word significant contribution. And so I don't think that a movie theater is a significant contribution in the history of a city, state, or nation.
Okay.
Pretty good comments. Any other questions or comments for staff? All right. Without any other further action on this, does not require a public hearing, so we will not do that tonight. But this is a decision for us, so I'll entertain a motion on this item. We are welcome to have further discussion as well.
I've said my piece.
Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the Ritz Theater as a landmark.
Okay, I got a motion to approve from Commissioner Proctor. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second from Commissioner Sloan. Any other discussion before we take it to a vote? Well, I'm writing this down, sorry. All right, Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Nay.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 5-1. Moving up to the City Council in the progressive order that you just explained to us, so thank you.
Goes to the city council, sir.
No, that's our decision.
Yep, just did.
Okay.
Yeah, you are the decision-making body here. The ordinance, which we've never used before, does call for a resolution to be prepared, so we'll have to figure that out. We've never done one of those before. And the next time we do this, we can combine this decision with the resolution and get it done in one night.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Commissioner Sloan.
While you're on the subject, and I spoke with Councilwoman Manzione about this, when we discussed this process a couple of months back, didn't we put in a condition, one of the conditions was that it had to be with the permission or support of the property owner?
I recall there being two ways to initiate this process. One was that the commission could initiate it, and the other is the property owner can initiate it. And I haven't looked at the process more recently, but I think that still remains.
Yeah, that's correct. And in both of these scenarios too, for the Ritz Theater, it was the Arts Council Director. And then for the second one that you'll see, it was done by the property owner.
And I understand, as I looked down the list of things, I remember we'd had that discussion, but I didn't remember where we'd ended up on it.
Right, there was some suggestion of why should someone other than the property owner be able to nominate a property over the property owner's objection.
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
There is a process for withdrawing it, and I think Jared and I, in our recommendations, just believed that the Historic Preservation Commission and you would weigh that in the balance, that if we had a property owner that objected to it, that would be meaningful to you. But this is as I recall, this is the process that we advanced and that was approved.
I'm glad you brought that up, Commissioner Sloan, because I was under the impression that the property owner had to okay it.
It was,
Because
we
I
were
would
concerned
not
about the
vote for
taking,
one.
or
If the
potential
property owner
taking.
wasn't okay with it, I wouldn't vote for it.
I remember it being the property owner had to,
I hope that,
I
I mean,
mean,
this,
sign off on it.
As
Tonight,
far as
I
I
sign
remember,
off
when
on it.
we got our City Council reports, Councilwoman Manzione reported that back to us as well, so.
I'll be happy to go look at the original ordinance that passed and make sure the one we've got online is the correct one.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate that. Any other discussion on that? That's a good point, I appreciate that. I was looking for that myself.
If I didn't do it, Matt was going to, so.
I'm glad you guys do. Hold each other accountable, right? All right. That one's passing. So number 4 on our agenda is a review and a decision. This is a consideration for the application for historic landmark designation of the Coleman Pond and Home located at 461 South Coleman Street. Mr. Perez.
Yes, so this next one is a private residence, and it is home to the Coleman Pond. And kind of the historic value or significance is that it was home to many LDS baptisms until the 1900s. And there should be in your packet some records of that. And there's some pictures up here as well. And it does meet all the criteria that have to be met. And then for the one, they selected that it's associated with events that have made a significant contribution to the history of the city, state, or nation. And there's some more pictures up there. Do you have any questions on this?
Let's bring this back to the commission. Do you have any questions for staff?
Same issue.
Yeah, I have no questions, but
We can make comments.
yeah, my comment is,
we
well,
can
this one,
discuss
this one even more so than the theater. The theater can kind of apply to everybody. This side, it seems more like important history of the, significant history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, not the city, state, or nation. So
I drove by and I couldn't, I mean, that's pretty hard. There's a lot of vegetation. I can't really see the house, so I don't know if anything's been changed or what it looks like, if it still looks the same. So I have an issue with that, part of the subjectiveness of what my earlier comment was.
and honestly, I'd be more inclined to designate the tree that was the inauguration of Lincoln more so than anything else. But again, that's my subjective opinion based on the criteria that we've laid forward.
Well, the house doesn't look like that, but it does look like one of the other pictures in your packet, that one.
And I've lived here 25 years and I didn't even know this existed until I drove by for this.
I've coveted it for 25 years.
Andrew likes the tree.
I've heard that it's one of the only wells in the city that the city doesn't own. They have a well there that they pump into their pond. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that.
All saying yes.
I'm good. Any other discussion on this one?
And I can say, if somebody did want to see it, I can tell you the property owner is very enthusiastic and would be more than happy to show you.
Field trip, let's go.
Yeah.
Andrew's car.
We've never done that. That'd be fun.
All right, with no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion on this one.
Well, Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of getting a vote on the record, I will move that we approve this application.
Okay, I've got a motion from Commissioner Sloan to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Commissioner Hammer. Any other discussion before we take it to a table? Okay, Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Nay.
Commissioner Jensen?
Nay.
No pressure, Mr. Chairman.
I need a raise. I get all the points. That's my problem.
You're not alone there.
But since this was property owner driven, that's what they want done. It preserves our history, so I will vote yay. Or aye, yes. I can speak tonight, I promise. My daughter flies in like an hour or so. That one passes 4-2. All right, thank you, Mr. Perez,
Thank you.
appreciate that. No, I won't, we're good. Number 5 on our agenda tonight is a review and a decision. This is a resolution 2024-01, adopting a policy regarding public comments at public hearings by Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Commission. We talked a couple of weeks ago about the intersecting concepts of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and the right of the government to conduct its business in an orderly, efficient manner. And so what we have before you is a series of rules that you have indicated an interest in that balance those two interests and allow the public to speak whatever they would like to say regarding topics that you're considering within civility limitations and time limitations. So we have a number of policies about verbal comments. The written comments is pretty much the same, except we're not worried about volume and attitude so much, or tone. But written comments would need to be submitted in time for you to get them. A comment submitted the day after wouldn't be accepted. And then you have a sign limitation. I saw a video today where a person was speaking for the second time, and there were counter speakers who stood between him and the pulpit. Pulpit? Whatever you call it.
Podium.
Podium, thank you. I'm not a preacher.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
At the pulpit.
It's a bully pulpit, it's not a bully podium.
I'm neither a bully nor a preacher. But they held up banners and signs targeted at the speaker. And his speech was offensive, but still, that completely disrupted the meeting. When I presented this to the city council, I hadn't had the time to research actual video clips of things gone wrong. I did have some time to do that today, and I do have a couple of video clips for you. I will mention that all of the things we were worried about in doing this policy were so offensive that I didn't want to show them to you tonight.
You can't offend me.
Well, no, it's, I would feel bad showing them. Similar to, I would feel bad if I had to read you a bunch of profanity from a witness statement. It's just, well, why? So these are more humorous than anything. Do you have any questions or comments before I show these to you? We've only
I
got
really
about-
like the policy. It was pretty much what we're doing already, but I
Yeah.
think it gives us a clear guideline. As much as I hate policy and I hate making rules, it just lets the public know this is how we're going to run it. So I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
And it kind of codifies in perpetuity
Were you able
what
to
we've
figure it
done.
out?
I was not.
By practice.
So we'd have to do it live just from YouTube, and I'm not sure how we would stream that and this at the same time. I just wasn't able to get them into the
Fine.
thing, so
Do you have a way that we can show them?
I can try. I can feed them. We can give it a shot.
Roger's excited.
You can't oversell like this. and
I've
be
never
not
seen his
deliver.
eyes that wide.
I have not sold it at all.
You can't tease us like that. I've seen some of the offensive ones, and they're awesome.
Some of them I'm glad I'm not the chair.
Boneless chicken wing thighs.
This was hilarious.
I'm so excited.
This was, I was laughing, huh? I used to see him in the Jared TV
room in school.
If there are ads, forgive me. Right, yeah. Oh, we don't have the volume? Any ideas on volume?
We can just make it up. Let's make up the dialogue.
The closed caption.
Promise I won't take up too much of your time here.
My name is Andrew Christensen. I live at 1212 Twin Ridge Road. Lincoln has the opportunity to be a social leader in this country. We have been casually ignoring a problem that has gotten so out of control that our children are throwing around names and words without even understanding their true meaning and treating things as though they're normal. I go into nice family restaurants and I see people throwing this name around and pretending as though everything is just fine. I'm talking about boneless chicken wings. I propose that we as a city remove the, excuse me, I'm trying to,
Yeah,
excuse me, come on. I propose that we as a city remove the name boneless wings from our menus and from our hearts. These are our reasons why. Number one, nothing about boneless chicken wings actually come from the wing of a chicken. We would be disgusted if a butcher was mislabeling their cuts of meats, but then we go around and pretending as though the breast of the chicken is its wing. Number two, boneless chicken wings are just chicken tenders, which are already boneless. I don't go to order boneless tacos. I don't go and order boneless club sandwiches. I don't ask for boneless auto repair. It's just what's expected. And then number three, we need to raise our children better. Our children are raised being afraid of having bones attached to their meat. That's where meat comes from. It grows on bones. We need to teach them that the wing of a chicken is from a chicken, and it's delicious. I propose that we rename boneless wings in the city of Lincoln. We can call them buffalo-style chicken tenders. We can call them wet tenders. We can call them saucy nugs or trash. We can take these steps and show the country that where we stand, and that we understand that we've been living a lie for far too long, and we know it because we feel it in our bones.
thank you. Okay, hold it down, please.
So you may have seen a guy with a mask at the end, an older guy. He takes his mask off and said, "I just want you all to know, that's my son." So the kid was playing a practical joke on his dad.
I'm glad, because I was going to move that we no longer have public comment.
Right. So that's an example of where it's perfectly civil and calm and it's not offensive, but it's totally not germane to anything that you do, and you don't have to listen to it. And this policy would allow you to interrupt that comment. I'm gonna get another one here.
I wouldn't interrupt it. I'd let him keep going.
All night long.
That's how we get our entertainment.
Then he's going to get offended, and it's going to be on Facebook that the chair was mean to him.
He was very well versed, though.
Yeah.
He proved his point.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it.
Yeah. Saucy nuggets. Or trash. Or trash.
Matilda followed her. Oompa Loompas, Tinkerbell flew into the room.
Olympus.
That's what I looked for the second time. His application.
Yeah, I know the law, but I'm useless when it comes to portraying it on a screen. While we're waiting, I've had 3 of you now read this book and wonder if any of the others of you would like to look at it. All right, John.
Yeah.
I have to wait your turn, yes.
That's all right.
So there's a
Really
man.
gung ho, I can bring you my copy.
Okay.
Here we go. There's a man named Ray Lyman, and I think this is, I've already forgotten the name of the town. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yeah, you'll hear he's got a classic Pennsylvania accent. So these are really instructive. And you can go on there and watch him for over the course of weeks, 3 minutes at a time, for over an hour.
I'm not correct. She's a council president for Harrisburg's council. Well, the question is, since she's city council for Harrisburg, since she's city council of Harrisburg City Council, since we, here in our city council, since you harass us and treat us like, I'm not going to say this, but since you treat us like an animal,
Mr. Lyman,
Oh, I'm speaking.
Mr. Lyman,
I got 5 minutes, don't cut me off. And
all right.
Neil saw the two people who were with me yesterday. They were from the ACLU. And the question.
Next speaker, please.
Oh, whoops.
I'm sorry.
So who's got control of this meeting? The chairwoman thought she did.
She don't.
It didn't last.
No.
And for some reason, she yielded to him that control. It makes a little more sense when you watch more of the clips because they know each other really well by now. And she just is kind of tired of him and is going to let him go on. But he keeps saying, I want my 5 minutes. Do you have to give it to him? We don't know yet because we don't know if what he's saying is really germane to this body. He feels like he's being treated like an animal. Whenever you're ready,
A question for Mrs. Verna. She's if I'm not correct, she's a council president for Harrisburg's council. Since you almost had me arrested. I had to call the ACLU, and I will file a lawsuit against the city council and mayor. And I did get a response from the federal attorney general. And I'm tired of being
Response with
threatened.
you? Do you have your response? Do you have a copy of that?
At the house.
Can you bring it to us so that
I
we're
will
aware?
bring it, and I'll bring it, and I will bring copies of the letter.
he said the same thing the week before.
could you also bring that letter you talked about the last time that Attorney Menorah was looking for from your lawyer?
No, I sent it to the federal attorney general's office.
Well, Attorney Menorah wanted to look at it.
Well, he's the one, and you and him wrote the letter and sent it on city council letterhead. Why would I have to send it back to you?
We're not going to go through
See
this
that?
again. You never got a letter from us. We're not going to go through this again.
Well, you guys sent it to me. Why would I have to send it?
You want to start again? Get me a copy of that.
Well, this is my time to speak. Can I speak?
Is this going to be on YouTube tonight? At least we make
Are
national
you,
news.
Ms. Catelli, are you insulting me? Can I speak?
You can say whatever you want, Ray.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Now, Ms. Craig spoke about the Scrape the Times on NCC, about that letter about people losing their houses. Now, we must talk about the Rinaldis, the Naples, and all these other people who owe back tax. Why'd you go after them? Kevin Murphy's mother,
Excuse me, but
who didn't pay for
can't
years.
talk about anyone else at the council meeting.
Well, these people owe back taxes.
Bring it here and prove that they owe back taxes. You bring those papers here and we'll do something about it.
They owe money.
Well, go find out what they owe and bring it here.
Councilman, I'm not in political power.
Well, you cannot
Just an average person.
discredit some other
Well, then
person
maybe
that's
I
not
should run
here.
for city council.
That's a good
You know,
idea.
people told me I should run.
You
I
should
think
run.
I will run for office.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe I should run against you.
That's a
And-
good idea. That's
And
a
if I
wonderful
run,
idea.
I will not raise taxes and treat people like dogs and take the cameras out. And if I ran for office, one thing for sure, I won't lie and say death threats and say, oh, I'm scared, and run out there and fake tears in my eyes and do that.
You ran when the policeman came, though, didn't you?
No, I didn't run. No, I didn't.
Oh, yes, you did.
I wanted the cops to arrest me
Yeah,
so
I
I could
know.
file a lawsuit.
Yeah, I know you did.
That's right.
Start on YouTube.
Because one thing, Ms. Catelli, the tape showed it was only 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And I showed the tape to the two people from the ACLU. And it was
Great.
only 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And Mr. Menorah lied. He
Oh,
said it
that's
was 3
wonderful.
minutes. So he perjured himself.
Well, we'll all be at Allenwood together, Emil. We'll start a racquetball club.
So, Mrs. Catelli, I got one more question. Since all the south side was paved, why can't I have Capellas Avenue? For years, I asked Capellas Avenue to be paved. Why can I not have Capellas Avenue paved?
I don't know, maybe when I'm the mayor, I'll pave it for you.
It doesn't need the mayor of Scranton to be paved. You guys always have all these other streets paved, like Elm Street, Boulevard Avenue, all of North Main Avenue, all the way up to
Those
Dixon
were all
City.
K streets, and your time is up. Sit down,
Time
please.
is up.
No.
Mrs. Schumacher? It's your turn.
What about the people who tuned in late to our feed tonight and saw that?
I already texted Kalani. She
Oh,
knows.
she's the only
we're okay.
one?
Yeah.
War of the Worlds kind of thing. So I don't want to belabor it, but let's take a minute to talk about some of the things you saw that you thought he was within the bounds, that you thought he was out of bounds, or that you thought members of the council were out of bounds. What did you observe?
Seemed like there was a lot of history between them, and I mean, a lot of things we don't know, but there was some unprofessionalism on both sides for sure.
Right. They let the fact that he's been before them dozens of times, they let their discipline down. They were making fun of him. They were making light of everything. And so, yes, good point. And he doesn't have to be professional, but they certainly should.
Yeah.
Anything else you saw?
We've historically, and we've kind of gotten away from it, not necessarily in this body, but city councils, county commissions, we've started letting public comment become a public dialogue. And I know you've always counseled against, we're not up here solving whatever their public comment is, at least in the way it's delivered at city council.
Especially.
Yes. And I think it wouldn't work with those idiots. But the reality is, I think we need to emphasize that up front. I'm thinking of the chairman last year as we had some contentious stuff, and it wasn't that you guys weren't interested in their issues. It was that the public didn't understand that you weren't going to solve their issues that night. They were expecting responses. They were expecting answers to their questions. And when they weren't getting that, they took that to be arrogance, for lack of a better word. And again, I don't think that would make any difference here, but I can't help but wonder if we need to just remind people, maybe more forcefully or more clearly, certainly in the case of your meetings, this is public comment. This isn't dialogue. Staff is taking notes, so we're going to look into some of the stuff that you say, but don't expect the chairman to have a conversation with you about it or to solve whatever your particular issue is. And then we have to be consistent with that.
Right.
Every time. You can't pick and choose if you're going to chat with the boneless wing guy or whatever. You have to either chat with them all or don't chat with any of them.
Now, for your public hearings, there are conditional use permits that you decide on. And so if you need additional information from someone that's speaking, you can ask for it. That's okay. One thing this gentleman does in some of his other clips is that he demands that the council chair answer his questions. And he puts very pointed questions to her. And, he's a mix of loony and skilled.
It's a bad combination.
So
Put that on my business cards.
On my resume as well.
Skilled loony bin.
and she takes the bait, and she gets into it with him. And he, of course, he's not going to relent. And so she ends up looking the worse for it, even though she does have the answers and he doesn't. I would recommend that you go see some other clips of him, because there are some fascinating interactions between the council and him, and between the city attorney and him. He claims that the city attorney and the council chair sent him a letter on city letterhead signed by them that told him he wasn't welcome at the meetings and don't come. We don't want to hear you. And so he confronts them with that, both of them. And they deny it, and they call him a liar, and of course he doesn't bring the letter, ever. Any week. And they say, we did not send you a letter that says that. We did not send you a letter that says anything. But the more angry the city attorney and the council chair get, the more he starts to look like a victim and someone that is being disrespected. And so, like I say, he gets, it's 3 or 5, I think it's 3 minutes. And there's an hour and 10 minutes of his videos. So look up Ray Lyman, Lyman. You can look up Boneless Chicken if you want to, but there are some very funny ones. There's a couple of college students that stand up and advocate for the virtues of college parties and the alcohol and everything that goes with it. And they're ridiculously persuasive in the arguments that they make. And it has nothing to do with what the council's doing. But they let it go on and on and on. And this one man approaches a 7-member school board, and they're all women. And he gets up and says, "Hey, cowards, you're a bunch of fat, ugly women." And that's just how he starts. And goes on, and they take it. And they just take it, and you can tell they're gritting their teeth till his 5 minutes is over. You don't have to give someone like that 5 minutes. That's why we're looking at these very simple rules that control civility, time, order, but still let people that want to comment on your business do it. Some of the people on the videos are quite pointed and critical of the council, and they get arrested. And guess what? They're going to get some money from that city. Especially when a lot of the videos are school boards talking about books, and mothers will get up and read from these obscene books that the school board is allowing in the libraries. And then when the lady won't stop reading from the school's book, they have the woman arrested for it. And so I hadn't researched these. I had seen a presentation, but take a look. And there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't pertain. Just keep scrolling. You can scroll for hours and you'll still find good stuff. So not that I scrolled for hours. It's just long enough. All right, that's enough for tonight.
I have a comment. So we don't really deal with anything like that's in these videos. Well, we get our property owners who, for lots of reasons, come and they're against whatever it is that we have in front of us. And a lot of it sometimes is that not in my backyard mentality.
Yeah.
And then we see this often too, that second pop-up. They're like, oh yeah, one more thing. And we don't usually allow that. They talk the one time, and
right.
we
You
want
already
everybody.
have that in your policies.
Yeah. So is there a way that, I don't know, I guess this policy can't really address that, but I feel bad sometimes when people come and they do those pleas to us about, I don't want this next door to me, or why are we doing?
We don't want those people.
Yeah, or we don't want
Values.
those people or that business or anything. And is there a way that we could help educate at the beginning of our meetings when we sense that there's going to be those things? Because that's what we hear the sad stories all the time, and I always feel bad for people.
Yeah.
But those aren't legally things that we can do
Right.
or change or
Like
not
tax fraud.
approve.
So just because what someone says doesn't have legal merit in the decisions you're making doesn't mean that it's not a legitimate comment, and you all know this. But if someone wants to express to you their fears that what's going to go up next door will lower their property values, that's totally within their right to say. And it is hard, that part, I don't know how you educate, but you could start by saying tonight, our purpose is to hear evidence of whether this use is going to hurt any surrounding property owners. That's what we're here for. And so please keep your comments to that. You could do that kind of thing, and I would encourage it.
They probably still won't do it.
Yeah, they won't do it, but.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I don't think they understand that we legally have to find a way to make it work.
Well, and that gets to
Most
another
of the
issue
times,
of whether we
right.
have too many conditional uses.
Yeah.
That's a totally different question, and we always would be happy to look with you at our conditional use lists to see if there are any that we really don't need to bring the neighborhood in. But that's another discussion.
I think that was a really good comment, Commissioner Hammer, because I feel the same way. And I'm sure all of us have people that call and like, hey, I want to do this. And you just explain to them, like, that's a permitted use already. And, like, you have to have real evidence, not just, I feel this might happen. And it is hard to get it through their head for them to understand. I mean, since I've been on the last few years, I've learned so much more than I ever knew what was going on, and I still feel inadequate sometimes about some of the stuff we're doing. Like, I just don't know enough, and so for the people that don't deal with it very much, it's hard for them to understand how it actually works.
Well, us as staff, we're fortunate to have a commission that wants to learn and that does understand the law of conditional uses, and because many commissions don't. So I appreciate you for that. I think you still have an item before you for a vote. I'll let you get to it.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments for Mr. Baker? Perfect. I'll entertain a motion on item number 5.
Chairman, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2024-1, adopting a policy regarding public comments and public hearings, Planning Commission.
Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Proctor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Jensen. Just to stay consistent, is there any discussion before we take it to the table for a vote? All right. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan? Aye. Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
I'm Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 6-1. 6-0.
You vote against us again?
I'm losing it tonight, huh? I need that entertainment
You're
in my
actually
life.
thinking of barbecue chicken tenders.
I am thinking about saucy nugs.
Marisa, did you bring videos?
I didn't. Now I feel kind of unprepared.
All right, number 6 is the city council reports. Ms. Manzione.
Okay, last council meeting, we had a long meeting. In our work meeting, we talked about the annexation agreement, and if that goes through, then that would be coming to you guys. But we did talk about that, and it will be on our next agenda also. And then we approved the budget, and we set the tax rate. We adopted the certified tax rate, which means we will not be doing a truth in taxation hearing.
I'm saying it.
I know. And then we did talk about the same policy, adopting the public comments and public meetings for the council meetings as well. And we talked for quite at length about some water rights for Perry Commercial Center that will be going in on 2400 North. Those are the highlights. Any questions?
Any questions for council?
I understand that I'm a geek for this stuff, but it never ceases to boggle my mind. And the meetings are all noticed, they're easy to find, and the budget being passed draws 0 people. Now they'll come complain later when taxes go up, And why weren't we told? Why didn't we vote on this? Why this, why that, and the other thing? But it boggles my mind that nobody even bothers to come and hear why you do what you do. And
Right.
Staff does an amazing job of presenting it. You guys flesh it out and talk about it really, really well, and maybe they're all watching on YouTube, I don't know.
Maybe. I was going to say that too. We do talk about it for a good 6 months before we ever adopt it, and our staff does an amazing job at, laying things out for us and making cuts where needed and additions where needed. I mean, it's a lengthy process and
And
not
it's so
taken
collaborative.
lightly.
Everybody's got a voice in it. Not everybody gets what they want, but everybody works together really well. And so, but if you listen to social media, you guys are all meeting behind closed doors. And-
Yeah, we
and it's-
don't.
No.
Public announcement, we don't.
Yeah. So no, I appreciated that meeting. I always appreciate that meeting because it's really informative. But it still just makes me shake my head.
No, thanks.
Maybe if you showed more videos, people would come.
Maybe Roger can find some for us.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you all.
Thank you. All right, number 7 on our agenda is a review and approval of Planning Commission minutes for the meeting held on June 12th, 2024. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes dated June 12th, 2024.
Commissioner Hammer, motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second from Commissioner Robinson. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 6-0. Got it right that time. All right, number 8 on our agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
Got a couple of you.
Everybody wants to adjourn.
Everybody, yeah. You want to just pick one,
Matt's gonna
Catherine?
say no.
Matt, you going to say no? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Tell us we're going to be